My memory as a kid was fishing at my grandparents' house in Denmark. So catching sole and bringing it up to my grandma's place, and she would always cook with them. 25 years later, then I became a chef. So coming here to the Pacific Northwest, that is so close to the ocean, it ties me a little back to home, because Denmark is surrounded by the sea, and the sea is so important in our food culture. It's like a parallel world of the same kinds of foods, but in a totally different way. So the first time I remember coming out here to forage oysters, I drove by Hama Hama. I turned my head and thought, oh, this is a magical place. It was a small shop in the beginning. They just farmed oysters. So they're growing in a harmonious way, and all comes together in like beautiful, magical nature that I've never expected to see. Adam is the co-owner of Hama Hama and grandson of founder Daniel Robinson. He's gonna take us out on the Hood Canal this morning and getting some of Hama Hama's famous blue pool oysters.
We got plenty of tide left, but the wind might pick up. The wind's not gonna pick up.
Let's go. Let's go.
Nice. Hard to have a bad day when you watch a sunrise on the water, right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Before we're heading out on the barge, Adam and I are discussing the sustainability of the fish industry. And you can tell I'm a little passionate about it. So the problem is like farming fish. That's the problem for us in Europe.
Oh, fish farms.
So fish farm is like a huge problem.
Yeah, well, you know, again.
But it's like it's destroying the habitat. It's like they're putting out like a lot of penicillin in like the fish.
The only time I feel like really getting in arguments is like with all the fly fishermen that are so anti-hatchery.
But I have to say something here. I'm probably the worst fly fisherman, because if I catch a fish, I would really like to take it home and eat it.
Yeah, me too. That's why I fish. Like I said, I haven't commercially farmed fish, but I feel like if people want to continue, want to have fish protein in the general diet of the population, we need to figure out a way to farm it.
Also, it doesn't have to be that cheap to buy a piece of salmon.
Yeah.
Why does it have to cost $9.99 for like a pound of salmon from Atlantic salmon all the way from Norway? When it goes out of date, where does it go?
Yeah, I know.
Is it like given to somebody else? Some other animals? Is it canned or what is it? No, it's not.
We smoke it.
Thrown away.
That's what gave birth to the Hama Hama, like our smoking operation, was we'd buy fish, we'd have oysters, you know, and it was a way to just add 7 to 10 days worth of shelf life to it.
And that makes sense. But in the supermarket, it doesn't matter which QFC, Whole Foods, whatever you think is like the best place to go buy your stuff, they throw it out.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So that's overproducing of fish.
Yeah, overproducing of fish. It's a tough business.
It's
you know,
really
everything's
tough.
got a very short shelf life. It spoils fast. Demand ebbs and flows. So, well, I know how to get you fired up.
Yeah.
This bobber right here marks the end of one of the river jetties. Okay. You can see if you look upstream here, those are the Brothers Mountains up there in the mist. That's sort of the headwaters of the Hama Hama. So now we're actually going up. This is an area we call the far north, and these hopefully are full of openers. So we're going to.
What is an opener?
Well, so those are the clusters that we take in and shuck, and then pack in pint containers like the ones I brought over.
So here you see the empty cages that Adam is bringing out to get filled later on today on the low tide. So on the high tide, Adam goes out and picks up the full cages that they filled the previous day to be brought back to the shore for processing.
Good catch. Whoa. So how many pounds is full of, like, how much does it weigh?
Yeah, so I think I figured once they weigh about 1,000 pounds.
It's full of small crabs.
The crabs are definitely the highlight of most kids' experiences, and a good indicator that, you know, things are relatively healthy. You know, I mean, there's a balance to things, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we've been talking about. What tips that balance? It's not the seals, it's the humans.
Yeah.
I'll run down here and grab this. This is crazy.
What do you call that grab you have in, like, in a Tivoli or like in a amusement park?
Oh,
like
yeah,
grabbing
exactly,
for bear.
whatever that is. It's exactly like that. The crappy stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Oysters, like lobster, were, you know, sort of the poor man's food, right? Anybody could be having a bad day, get laid off, you know. I mean, it's times like this, you know, like we don't have enough oysters to feed the world, but we have enough oysters out here to feed our family and our community. You know, I mean, again, like during this pandemic, we've looked at it like, okay, well, we've got the oysters on the beach. We paid for those oysters last year, you know, and the year before. So what's our cost in them? Just getting them off the beach? Well, if you know, if we can put our staff to work, you know, every dollar we make is a dollar less we lose.
What are that?
I think that's what we're looking for.
It's blue pools?
These are like extra smalls.
Extra small, so they look pretty big.
They do look pretty big.
We picked up the cages with the cluster oysters, and these here are the Hama Hama extra small and blue pool oyster. They're creamy, they're easy to open, they're just so delicate and really good for starter oysters.
Cannot wait, I'm hungry.
It's kind of a mixture of both that'll get resorted when we get in there.
Yeah. I could eat them all right now.
Justin is the wholesale manager at Hama Hama. He's going to walk us through how they clean the oysters and the manila clams that come from the barge and from the sea and ship them out to consumers fresh.
Every day here at Hama Hama, when the tide's high, you know, we obviously harvest oysters and clams at low tide. At high tide, we're able to get out with the boat, barge it in, just like this morning. That's a pretty standard day. And then once the barge gets in here to the slip, we're able to transition all of the oysters and clams into the sorting and cleaning phase. And so right now, Campos and Luis Manuel, they're going to wash and sort clams, take out any dead clams and sort for size, and then weigh everything out into bags. And from there, it'll go up to the cold room and be ready for boxing and shipped off to market. The beach crew already has the product sort of at 90%. There's just a few more steps to make sure that you know, it's the highest quality and it's clean and ready to go, and that it's all uniform from a sizing perspective.
So what did you do when the COVID hit?
For a family-run company, we're always thinking about our staff as you know, as our family, and so a lot of it was that, you know, how do I keep coming to work every day and keep food on my table and food on everybody else's table. I really love the fact that people nowadays are really curious about where their food comes from and how it's produced and the people that make it and what those companies are about and what those people are about. So this is our cold room production facility. You can see each bag color represents either a different variety or a different size of oyster. It allows our crew that's putting the oysters in boxes to very quickly identify which is which and you know, be able to get it accurately into the box. And then of course, oysters also come in cluster form, which is pretty wild. You know, there's a great big difference between the single oysters and the cluster oysters.
So how do you get them to single? Do you knock them off or
No, so a lot
tumble
of the single oysters, a lot of this is wild natural set, and so the oysters, if left on their own out there, just kind of do this naturally. Juan and Matthias are shucking today. So you can see the hopper is just gravity fed. So they just they'll put it up on the table, and then gravity will sort of bring the oysters down and they're able to shuck them into the pan. And then when the pan's ready, it goes through the window and heads out to the other side where it'll get packed up into jars or half gallons.
they're pretty fast. It's amazing how fast it goes. Good pluck.
Yeah.
Good pluck.
Right here.
Yeah.
So if we get it inside,
Yeah, you cannot, yeah.
make sure it's inside though, because if you don't,
Yeah, you cannot. So you have to have it straight in the layers between.
yeah, so you gotta cut the muscle. When you cut the muscle, you get the oyster in here.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, man. It's so big.
Yeah, so then you got this side, you can still another.
Juan here, he's a fantastic dude. Has been working at Hama Hama for over 20 years. He's so fast as opening these oysters here. I cannot even believe it. He just pops them in, plop. And even though he says, I'm not as fast as I used to be, but he's just pop and they're open and he gets them out. Claire's the event coordinator for Hama Hama, and she's gonna take us out on the shores here to show us how to pick manila clam. What are all these nets?
These nets are clam nets.
Okay.
So we use these to protect the smaller clams from ducks, which eat them in the winter. We have a lot of scoter ducks, and a lot of netting also protects from crabs. It'll take little bites out of it.
It's a lot of work. You don't have butter clams, the big shells?
We do. They're kind of a byproduct of.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, the ducks haven't figured it out yet.
No. So Claire's taking the rig and she's just like barely scratching the surface of the ocean bottom. And up comes like all these amazing clams, like varnish clams, manila clams, and butter clams. What are they called? Silver dollar?
Sand dollars.
Sand dollars.
Yeah.
Are they alive?
Yeah, those are alive. Kind of velvety when they're alive. Oh, and this is
Oh, that's the
moon snail.
moon snail
egg casing.
casing. Oh, it looks like a, what do you call those for the toilet?
Yeah, plunger.
So what are they doing out there? They are harvesting oysters?
They're harvesting oysters, probably digging clams.
So he like
We'll
clumps them together?
Usually we'll tie them all together.
Okay,
with
he'd probably
there's a
try to
little
tie to
red
that buoy.
bobber.
Yeah.
And then the barge boat will come
Yeah,
pick it up at high
we
tide.
did that this morning.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Oysters is one of my favorite foods in the world, and I cannot get a better one than picking it straight out of the Hama Hama River. This is actually what happens when they're like filtering together. It's actually, they break off all this. What do you call this?
The new growth?
Yeah, the new growth. They're good. These are the oysters we just seen on the big beds out there. They're chuck, they're fresh. I'm just gonna give them a little pepper just to spice them up a little. And we're gonna make a Hama Hama oyster hot dog.
This hot dog has been in my brain for probably 14 days. It's fun for me going out, being out here doing these Hama Hama oyster hot dogs. You figure out, okay, you have to cook this on over a fire and the wind is too heavy and you cannot control it all the time, but that's the fun part of it. It's not controllable, and you just go into the moment and fulfill that dream you were starting out with. Just thinking, okay, should we do something else? Can we twist it? Can we do something different? I hope we're gonna do something different today.
I had this topping on my mind. It's fresh onions, fresh cucumbers, sour cream, full-fat cottage cheese, dill, capers, cornichons, salt, pepper, and a squeeze of lemon. It's all topped off with crispy onion and pepper crisp.
Hama Hama? Hama Hama? What is it? Hama Hama? Hama Hama? Hama Hama? So Hama Hama, oyster hot dog. Help yourself.
That's what I enjoy about food, is when I see people's smile in their eyes to give them an experience of their own product. Give them something they never tried before and do something special. And that gives me a satisfaction in the food that they don't think about.